Thank you. All right, well, we will reconvene into open session at 5:38. And no actions were taken during closed session. I would like to welcome students from Oakdale Heights Elementary School who will lead us in Pledge of Allegiance. And push the button on the microphone. And maybe pull the microphone down. There we go.
That's as far as it goes.
So you'll have to take turns going up there.
Hello, my name is Sam Lee. Thank you for inviting us to lead your meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. We are students from Oakdale Heights School.
My name is Esteban Garcia. Saying the Pledge of Allegiance help form a connection to our country, the United States of America. When we say the Pledge of Allegiance, we honor the flag and everything it represents.
My name is Naomi Lopez. We are a country with a diverse population. Saying the Pledge of Allegiance instills a sense of patriotism for all people.
My name is Kane Carter. We say the Pledge of Allegiance at to start our day at school. To begin official meetings or ceremonies. And we honor the flag at special events like ball games.
We would like to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much for coming and leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have certificates for them?
Yes, we do.
Would you please come forward and we'll give you a certificate and we'd love to shake your hands. Come forward. We'll shake your hands. That's about it.
We'll walk all the way down and shake everybody's hand.
Thank you.
Please,
Thank you.
The chief's here. Samuel Lee, congratulations, my friend. Hey,
Thank you.
Kane.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you and your families are welcome to leave at this time if you'd like. All right, we will move on to item 5, comment session, comments and announcements by board members. I'd just like to start by saying welcome into 2024. I hope everyone had a happy new year and I'm looking forward to our growth and changes that we have coming forward in 2024. Lisa Torres.
Again, welcome back to a new year. Hopefully this will be a really good year this year. We're anticipating a lot of different changes, and I just want to say that on Monday I was able to attend the Martin Luther King breakfast, which honored, it's also a scholarship program, and it honored I believe it was 9 students that got scholarships. Chico State was there, and they also added another $1,000 to what they got from the scholarship from the Martin Luther King program. So it was very rewarding to see that. It's just a stepping stone for the kids to get, be able to know that they can move forward and have money to help start college and start a path to where they can progress And I'm happy that we have a steering committee that is dedicated to encouraging our young youth to continue education. And it's just a great support for the community. And everybody was able to get together, have a good pancake breakfast. So I had fun that day. And just again, welcome back to 2024.
Okay, thank you. And Jessica Anthony.
It seemed to be a very long winter break at home. It was much needed for our students and our teachers. And towards the start of 2024 school day, I was sitting with my children like, it's time to go back. Yeah, it's time to go back. They were very excited to go, looking forward to all the new things that they would be learning, especially sports starting at the upper grade levels for the schools and getting into being active at school and all of those wonderful activities that they can do. So we were really excited and still are to go into the rest of the winter season at school.
Great, thank you. Bill LeGrand. Okay, we'll move on to comments and announcements by administration. Dr. Holtum.
Welcome back, everyone. We've been back in school for about a week and a half now, and I'd like to report that we've started 2024 with a lot of good energy and a lot of great things to report. Just before we went on holiday break for Christmas, I was able to watch the studios at Central, their production of Home Alone, which was outstanding. And the kids did a great job. And I'd like to report to the board that every year, our arts programs at the studios are progressively getting more and more ramped up. And I'd also happy to announce that we're getting a lot more participation from both adults and students for our athletics. Currently, Ishii has not only a basketball team, but one for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, because we have so much interest and we have enough coaches to do it. We also have a really robust program at the studios as well. But I just want to let everybody know that we are starting to really feel like we are getting back into normalcy as far as doing all the events, especially the extracurricular activities in our schools, and getting the participation and the staff from adults to be able to carry those programs. So thank you.
Thank you. Andrew James.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to 2024. I was not here at the last meeting. I was sick. It was a very sick December for me and my family. So I'm happy to not be in December anymore. Over the break, a lot of things have taken place as far as construction projects around the district. A lot of fencing projects have gotten the main pieces in place where we can finish those up as soon as all the panels arrive. But if you go to Ishii Hills or to Ophir, you'll see a lot of changes as far as the fencing goes. And we've been working on a lot of other projects as well, playground projects at Ishii and a number. It seems like at every site, there were 2 or 3 projects that had happened. And then also over the last month, my staff and I have been working through the audit with our auditors, which I'm hopeful is finally completed. So hopefully next month we'll be bringing you an audit report.
Okay, thank you. And Troy Cox.
Good evening, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome back. As far as with curriculum and instruction, we have begun the implementation phase of our new LCAP, which will be coming out. So next board meeting at the end of February, not the first one, but the second board meeting will include a mid-year LCAP update, which will tell everything as far as in the 3rd and final year of the current LCAP, what we've done, where we're at, what progress we've made in goals, what expenditures we've had in each area. So that'll be reported out. That's a requirement by the state. We're also going to begin our community meetings at each of the sites that will include teachers, classified, certificated, community members, stakeholders, anybody that would like to attend. Those will be going on as well. So you'll start seeing invites coming out. So please, if you would like to attend, everybody is welcome. Everybody's input is always needed when we're starting LCAP. So that will be coming up. We also are having our mid-year report with DOJ at the beginning of February, the first week in February. So we will have a report that I will be able to schedule our community meeting with our community members to review our discipline data and the other things coming out as well. So that will be coming out soon. We have quite a bit of continued DOJ work. As mentioned earlier, we had a very positive site visit the last time from our mediator from DOJ that has shown the marked improvement of all of our programs as far as restorative practice, and improvement of our overall discipline data. So some good things are happening. Our PBIS level 1, 2, and 3, the implementation is getting better every time they come and witness it. So things are definitely on the rise and moving forward. We're looking forward to the possibility of more planning time dealing with PLCs. So our teachers are allowed to focus more on data and driving that curriculum to help improve our district. We're looking at different trainings and ways to do that for the remainder of the year and leading up to testing at the end of this year and then the beginning of the starting of next year. Our FBA progress is moving along, which is our functional behavior analysis to help our students that are in tier 2, tier 3 behavior intervention. So those are continuing and we look to be done with those at the end of the year. Laura Muimon from the International Institute of Restorative Practice has been visiting the schools this week and next week. Will complete all visits at all sites. Today, she gave training to the ed therapist and the school counselors, which is good. They get to witness what the teachers and administrators are seeing, so we're able to share that with them and our special ed folks this afternoon. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will move on to item C, comments by the public. At this time, the board will extend an invitation to interested parties who wish to speak on matters which are school related. For those attending remotely who wish to speak, use the raise your hand button to be called. Do we have any emails to read?
No, we do not.
Okay, and do we have anyone online with a raised hand?
No, we do not.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak at this time? Okay, we'll move on to item 6, presentation, ISOM advisors.
Sure to push the button on the mic. You got it.
Hello, good evening. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for allowing me to present tonight. So I am here from ISOM Advisors. My name is Mikiko Sato, and I'm really here to talk about whether the district wants to explore the possibility of a bond measure in November 2024. I'm going to start out the presentation with a quick overview of our firm. We are a full-service planning, campaign, and financial advisory firm, and we work with many of your school districts in the same county: Chico, Paradise, Thermalito. Trying to look up there, Gridley, and Durham, and as well as the community college district. I've been working with California school districts since 2003, so about 20 years, and been with ISOM Advisors for 8. The district, with talking with staff, I know has facility needs throughout the district, particularly at the middle school. And so the district has looked into the possibility of a new bond measure a couple of times in the past, and unfortunately, the stars never quite aligned. But now we have an interesting opportunity that we wanted to share with the board tonight to see whether, this is the year in which we want to, begin exploring it once again. So whenever we talk about a bond measure, we looked at the assessed value of the district. And so this is the history of the assessed value from 2004 to present. On average, the assessed value has grown by about 4.27% per year. The district voters previously approved a bond in 2002. That's key information that we should keep in mind, with a support of 63%. The district has issued all of those bonds. Previously, the district issued all the bonds in 2003. The current tax rate for those bonds is $21.15 per $100,000 of assessed value. All right. So for each Prop 39 bond authorization, the district could assess a tax of up to $30 per $100,000 in assessed value. So one of the first questions we typically get is how much could we raise with one Prop 39 bond election? And so that's the last row of that table. The $30, the district could raise up to 24 million with a successful Prop 39 bond measure. I also showed on this table what the district could raise with a $19 and $25 tax rate, in case we note that there's some tax rate sensitivity in the community. One of the unique opportunities here, because the stars didn't align for the district in the last few years with a due bond measure, we actually have a new opportunity that came up, and which is that the 2002 bonds are now going to fully mature in 2027. So as that bond gets repaid, it actually opens up capacity to issue additional bonds without increasing the tax rate for your community. So that's a unique opportunity that really exists for that 2024 authorization. It looks like 2026 could work, but because the tax rates get set a year in advance, it would be pretty tight to have 2026 work. So 2024 is kind of this wonderful time in which we might be able to ask the voters if they are willing to extend the existing tax rate. One interesting piece of information is that I looked up the original ballot language in the 2002 bond measure, and the tax rate estimate provided to voters at that time was basically $30. It was $29.99 per $100,000 in assessed value. So, you know, there's not really a concrete rule in terms of what could be considered a tax rate extension. So if the district could consider going up to that full $30 and still, I think, you know, honestly be able to portray it as a tax rate extension. But when I ran these numbers, I ran it as if we were extending the existing tax rate of $21, and that could still raise approximately 14 to 16 million.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, of course.
So now we know that our existing bonds are paid off in 27, but our talk is possibly taking this to the, November 2024 ballot. And we want to look at it as an extension so it doesn't create any more tax on our people. Can we wait until 27 to enact that bond? How does that 3-year,
Yeah.
2-year overlap work?
That's a great question. And the reality is that, in this graph, I made it look super, super clean. We probably will need to work with the county to coordinate tax rates and then be careful about how we're structuring the new bonds. We might be able to still issue the new bonds, but, defer the payments until 2028 in order for the taxes to remain stable. But so the process is going to be a little bit more involved. It might mean that we might have to delay the issuance of those bonds, but you will have the authorization in hand. It's all a question about, when the district will be able to issue and actually get access to those funds. So the process is a little bit more complicated than this graph suggests, but essentially, hopefully from the community's perspective, from the property owners paying for this, it would be fairly seamless in that the tax rate will be level moving forward.
So help me understand, if we defer payment on to 2028 of the new bond, why would that delay the issuance or the receiving the 2027 mature bond?
So in terms of the issuance, whenever the district issues bonds, it's when the current interest on those bonds start becoming due. We might be able to generate some excess funds from the bond sale that we deposit into the debt service fund to pay for that current interest. But some of these solutions, happen naturally because of the market interest rates. But if we're trying to issue too much too soon, there's going to be a lot more interest that needs to be paid on the bonds. And so it's kind of helpful to do a combination, maybe not issue everything at once, delay it until 2028 or 2027, while still being able to access some of the funds with financing techniques.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to keep moving forward. So voter demographics, just some information about the voters in Oroville Union Elementary School District. So the district has 16,500 total voters. The largest subset is Republicans at 43.8%. The percentage of voters that vote by mail have gone up to 83%, which is not a surprise after the COVID situation. The district does have a generally older voting population with 50% of voters aged 55 and older, which is also very common. Voters tend to be a little bit older than the general public. Also, one thing that we want to keep in mind is voter turnout can vary significantly from election to election. The red bars are the presidential elections, and you can see that those tend to bring out more people. The gubernatorial primaries, actually, this is a pretty stable set of lines. Most of the time, I see greater swings between primaries and presidential general elections. But, even then, you can see that the November presidential years tend to generate greater turnout. And this is a rule of thumb. It's not always true that, someone who only shows up to the presidential election might vote no on a tax measure. But in general, people who turn out for presidential elections tend to be a little bit more open to tax measures. So November of 2024 kind of works really well from, from this tax rate extension perspective. But from a voter turnout is also a very good election for new tax measures. And we are expecting to see a lot of school districts who are looking to ask their voters for a potential new bond throughout California. All right, so in terms of next steps, we're really looking at the November 5th of 2024 election date, and moving back from there, there are some deadlines that we need to look at. However, what we're really doing today is not necessarily calling an election or making any decisions. It's, we're just trying to see whether the board would like to continue to explore this as an option. And one of the key things that we want to do in order to see whether this is a feasible option for the district is to do a voter survey of your community. We've done actually two in the past, once in, I believe it was 2017 and another in 2019. But a lot of things have happened, and even between those 2 years, a lot of the sentiment has shifted. So we do think it's helpful in order to, to really be able to assess this with current information about your community, to do another voter survey to see if there is support for a bond measure in November. The survey will also test different projects to see which projects are popular in your community. That wouldn't necessarily dictate what goes on the project list, but it's certainly interesting to know what the community likes to support. We also test tax rate sensitivity and a couple of arguments about the bond measure and whether the community understands the link between the bond measure and, say home values. Most importantly, though, we sometimes, the survey really tests whether there's any major issues, trust issues between the district and the community. A lot of people vote yes on bonds because they support the school district. And if there is a lack of trust there, we flag that and say, okay, this might not be the right time for the district to go out. Sorry, I talked a lot there at the end, so I'll pause here to see if there's any questions. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Okay. So we'll move on to item 7, public hearings, proposed compensation for classified staff effective July 1st, 2023 for CSEA.
Enrollment projections.
Did I skip that? I did. I'm sorry. So 6B, 2024-25 enrollment projections. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I've handed out the enrollment projections for next year. We use these at this time of year in order to determine staffing levels for next year because the layoff window is right around the corner. When I project our enrollment projections, since we have a typical 2% decline in enrollment every year, each of the classes have declined by about 2% every year. With this projection, it looks like we need one less class at 6th grade than we have currently. But I'm sure that we're not going to need to go through layoffs since we have a lot of attrition. But so it's not status quo. As our enrollment continues to decline, we're continuing to, there's continuing need to decrease our staffing ratio. So that's our enrollment projection, and you should be expecting. I don't think there's going to be any layoff via enrollment projection this year, because I think we're already going to have. Today we have opportunity to fill that in. So,
And just so for reference for everyone, we're projecting to have 2011 kids next year. Currently, today we have about 2061 in the district right now. So losing about 40 or 50 kids, which is, like Andrew shared, about 2%.
Is there any comments or questions from the board? Okay, thank you,
Thank you.
Andrew. Now we'll move on to item 7, public hearings. Actually, I'm going to recuse myself from this item. Lisa, would you mind taking over for this one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Proposed compensation for classified staff effective July 1st, 2023. The Board of Trustees will receive comment from the public regarding proposed compensation for classified staff effective July 1st, 2023. The effective date for the classified substitutes is February 1st, 2024. The public disclosure form outlining the fiscal impact of the proposed agreement is attached.
So with the first interim budget that you approved at the last meeting, you approved a budget that already included the money for these increases. We met with our CSEA colleagues through the CFIRE negotiation process, which is our non-adversarial negotiation process, and came up with their salary and benefit increases that they would like. The percentages are the same percentages that the teaching unit also received, but the teaching unit divided up theirs differently than did CSEA. So instead of taking maybe a 3.5% like OETA did, CSEA elected to take a 5% increase and put some of the money on health and welfare benefits. So this does represent effectively a Me Too. It's the same amount of money ongoing. It just looks a little different because it's a different way they divided it up.
Does the board have any questions? Okay, this is not an action item, so we can go on to the next one.
Okay, item 7B, proposed compensation for represented staff effective July 1st, 2023.
So this also represents the same ongoing percentage increase to salary and benefits for our non-represented staff as does the CSCA contract or the CSCA tentative agreement and did the OETA agreement. So they all have the same percentage ongoing. It's just how it got divided up. In this case, we brought to the board earlier a change to board policy that changed the eligibility criteria to participate in retiree health benefits. And OETA also did this. So it cost them an ongoing 0.25% to do that. And we also took a 0.25% from this group as well. So instead of, and they didn't, and the non-represented group didn't put any additional funds on health benefits. They just took 5.8% ongoing on salary. So it's the same 6.05% for each group. It's just how they divided it up.
Is there any comments or questions from the board? Any comments or questions from the public, since this is a public hearing? Anything online regarding this? No raised hands on Zoom? And anyone from the public wish to speak on this? All right, thank you. We will move on to item 8, action session A, public comments on action items. So the board will extend an invitation to interested parties who wish to speak on items that are listed on the agenda. For those attending remotely who wish to comment, use the raise your hand button to be called on to speak. The Brown Act does not allow the governing board to discuss or take action on any item that is not on the proposed agenda. Do we have any emails for action items?
No, I do not.
Okay, any online hands raised?
No, I do not.
Is there anyone in the public who'd like to speak on action items? Okay, so we'll move on to consent agenda. Is there any discussion or questions from the board on the consent agenda? Okay, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion or questions? Okay, call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 4 yes votes. Okay, item 10, new business, approve consultant agreement with ISOM advisors.
So this is the contract with ISOM Advisors, who Makiko is a part of, to do the voter survey. And then if we decide to go forward with a bond measure, all those prices and things are included. The bulk of the fees are involved with the actual bond issuance. That's not something that we can just handle in-house. It's something we have to have professional help with. So that's what this is, and it is recommended that we move forward with this.
Is there any questions or comments from the board on this? I support it. They have experience, they know what they're doing, and then I would appreciate hearing, seeing the response from the survey that comes forward. So I think it's valuable. And let's see, this is an action item. Is it an action item? Where am I at?
Yeah.
It is an action item. Okay. So is there any other discussion or questions from the board? Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 4 yes votes. Okay, item B, select trustee representatives for 2024 district committees.
It's that time of year where we get the chance the board will select trustee representatives to serve the following committees during the 2024 school year. The Local Control Accountability Plan, the District English Language Learner Advisory Committee, the District Safety Committee, and the Supportive Schools Committee.
Madam President, if I could, I would just make a recommendation that if everybody's content being on the committees they're on, let's move forward another year.
Okay, how does that everyone else feel?
I'm with it.
I'm happy with that. So would you like to?
I
make
would
a
like to
motion?
make that a motion, Madam President.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Okay, is there any discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 4 yes votes. All right, improve the memorandum of understanding for medical dental coordination services.
Oh, I can take it.
Yeah.
So this is a contract between the district and Divine Dental Hygiene Practice of Amanda Solis of Durham, California. There's some initials there. This is to provide on-campus dental hygiene and preventative care services. And this would work through each individual's family's insurance or, it's not something that, I don't believe it's something that we're paying for. It's just that we're letting them come onto campus and do these services. And this is something that, as we've discussed in the cabinet, is something that having close access and encouraging access to these services for our students is very important.
And again, most importantly, this is no cost to our students.
Is there any questions or comments from the board?
So this hygienist will come on certain scheduled days that families will be, that will know these dates, and they can essentially schedule a basic dental cleaning to occur on campus.
So it's not so much a cleaning as more kind of a checkup, and it's just, they come on campus, and they're providing kind of training for the students, and also do a brief kind of checkup. And so it's trying to encourage families to have good hygiene and good dental practices, and it also gives them a way to a connection to let parents know if they need immediate support from their local dentist.
Okay. And this will be provided at all of our school sites?
We've been doing this already at some of our school sites, and yes, it can be available at all our school sites.
All right, any discussion or questions from the board? Okay, is there a motion to approve the MOU for medical dental coordination services?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 4 yes votes. Item D, approve job description for new supervisory position, state reporting coordinator.
So in the business office, I have a position that does a myriad of state reporting to CalPads and to a number of other state, federal agencies. Most agencies have converted those positions into like this, a state reporting coordinator. We call it secretary. So secretary is from 94 in the business office, and is, if you read the job description, is as you would expect. So this is a position that was long overdue to be changed. Additionally, looking at our business office and looking at what would make this position attractive to potential candidates, I wanted to make sure it had a small supervisory role, because when we think about people who will be heavily involved in state reporting and accounting, having those pieces, I know for me was important to have those. That first supervisory position was the hardest one to get, because everything else requires experience as a supervisor. So we put together this position, and I think it will be an important change for OCSD, and it will, if this was a union position, it would have been reclassified a long time ago. But it's not. So it's one of our confidential employees, confidential positions that we're converting. It just has never been addressed.
Okay, is there any discussion or questions from the board? Makes sense to me. Is there a motion to approve the job description for the state reporting coordinator?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? So motion carries with 4 yes votes. Okay, item E, review quarterly report of district compliance with Ed Code Section 35186, the uniform complaint procedures.
If you look at the quarterly report on Williams uniform complaints, we have no complaints this quarter.
Okay, and this is not an action item. Okay, move on to item 11, Business and Finance. Approve the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding with the Oroville Elementary Teachers Association Retirement Incentive.
Take this one.
You sure?
Yeah. It is recommended that the MOU between the district and the Oroville Elementary Teachers Association for a one-time $2,500 retirement incentive stipend be approved as presented, payable to OETA members who file an irrevocable letter of resignation for the purpose of retirement at the end of the 23-24 school year, and/or agreed upon no later than 4 p.m. on February 1st, 2024. This is the intent of the district, or recommended to the board to move forward with this in order for us to get an early count of the teachers who plan on retiring, so that when we go to the March job fair at Chico State, where we get the majority of our recruits, we have a very good sense of how many we need to recruit and what positions we need to recruit for at that time. In the past, I haven't had those numbers, and so I have to make projections. It can be problematic when I'm offering positions of an elementary position to someone who's interested in an elementary position. And they may want first grade, but I don't know if a first grade is available. And so they may be holding out or go and seek employment elsewhere because they can get a specific grade that they're looking for, if that makes sense to the board. So, thank you.
Any questions or comments from the board? Makes sense to me. So is there a motion to approve the MOU with OETA for the retirement incentive?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay. Any discussion or questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? A motion carries with 4 yes votes. B is to ratify the tentative agreement with the CSEA Association for compensation, and I will again recuse myself on this one. And the next one. So the next 2.
As we talked about in the public hearing, this is the tentative agreement to codify the agreement we made with the Classified Employees Union about all the different ways they elected to take their compensation increase.
Does anybody have any questions, any comments? Okay, so as an action item, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We have 3 yeses. C, approve proposed compensation for classified staff for the 24 fiscal year.
So this is on the same topic. This is the public disclosure document that we send to the county office that needs approval as well.
Does the board have any questions or comments? Can I get a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the item as agendized.
Can I get a second?
A second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Okay, 3 yeses.
Okay, so that was
We're on D.
C and D. Oh, we're on D. Okay. D is to approve proposed compensation for represented staff for the 23-24 fiscal year.
This is the county reporting document for the non-represented staff. With this motion and the next 2, which are on salary schedules, that will have given everybody in the district the same increase percentage-wise. There isn't a tentative agreement for the non-represented staff because they're not a union. They just are told this is what the change is.
Any discussion or questions from the board? Okay, is there a motion to approve the proposed compensation for non-represented staff?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, any further comments or questions? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 4 yes votes. Item E is to approve the revised salary schedule. Oh,
Are you gonna recuse yourself on this one?
Yeah, sorry, Lisa.
Okay.
So these are just the salary schedules that are associated with the other CSEA agreement. So as we make these changes, increasing salary, we have to have the appropriate salary schedule on our website. That's really important for people who, when they plan to retire, if if that information is not correct, the PERS or the STRS auditors really like to get in there and mess with people. So we're making sure that everything is complete and updated on our website as well.
Any comments, questions? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second?
A second.
Okay, call for a vote. We have all those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Any abstained? It passed with 3 yeses.
Okay, so we will move on to item F, approve revised non-represented salary schedules.
So it's again recommended to the board to approve these salary schedules. They go with the other increases for our non-represented employees. This codifies the salary schedules that we will put on the website. So everything is complete and we can move forward.
Any discussion or questions from the board? Okay, is there a motion to approve the non-represented salary schedules?
So moved.
Motion, we approve the item as agendized.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstain? Motion carries with 4 yes votes. Item 12, curriculum and instruction. A, approve the 22-23 school accountability report cards, the SARCs.
It is. All of the. Populated. The information, so.
Any comments or discussion from the board? Okay, is there a motion to approve the 22-23 SARCs?
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any noes? I forgot. Lost it there for a moment. Any opposed? Okay, any abstain? Then motion carries with 4 yes votes.
I did the same thing.
All right, item 13 is adjourned. We will adjourn the meeting at 6:28. Thank you.
I know. I said.
Good work.
I said, no.